Hello everyone and welcome back once again to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Today we're going to be taking a look at some of the things you can do for absolutely free to enhance and make your flight simulator experience more realistic, more pleasant, just better overall. The first of which is probably the most obvious, this crazy TBM. It's not necessarily the livery, I just picked the livery because it looks cool. We are using, let me pull it up here, the Tbm Improvement Mod. So you'll notice I have my rear passenger door as well as my pilot door open, and when I hop inside you can see my co-pilot. She's modeled there, and I can also go ahead and turn on myself. Probably do away with that for now because my hat brim gets in the way. There's a lot of little improvements to this airplane just to make it that slightly bit more immersive. The sun visors are movable, both up and down as well as to the left and right. I don't believe there's a telescoping feature just yet, but normally these would telescope. You'd push this little button here and move that out. They're a little bit finicky, but you know, again, free mods. Everything in this video is free. I think I've said that already. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get the TBM started up. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, let me show you the other two mods that I have that I can show you while we're on the ground, not the F-22. We've already talked about the F-22. So the next thing, looking away from that controller, is going to be the static AI for specifically the North America region in this case, but there is also Europe and Asia. So what that does is it adds a whole bunch of realistic aircraft that are static, as is in the name, but it livens up the airport and it makes it so you don't just have a bunch of boring generic airplanes. So you can see we've got this Cathay 777, Contrail Air A330, I'm not really sure about that, a World Travel, which is a flight sim OEM airline, World Travel 787, and it actually looks like he might be... Oh, I hit my 5 key. Looks like he might be able to be getting ready to go. The block car is not an add-on. There you go. Went a little bit far. But so you get the idea. Is a lot of realistic airplanes that are brought in. KLM 74-8, Turkish Airlines. I think that's an A330. It could be actually be an A310. No, they don't. Is there a cone? It doesn't matter. You get the idea. Lots more realistic static aircraft. You do still have the generics, obviously, you can see one there. But for the most part, it populates your airport with more static aircraft at the gate. The next thing we're going to showcase, and it actually takes a little bit to load in, it takes about 10 minutes to fully load in, so that's why I'm kind of killing a little bit of time here, is my real traffic add-ons. So there's two different things that I have. So I have the Enhanced Live Traffic mod, which hooks directly into Flight Sim and looks at real aircraft, their identifiers, what they are, what aircraft type, what airline, whatever. And it'll generate, you know, a semi-accurate model based off of that. So for example... You know, so this A340, I believe, is part of the static. I can tell just because it's a lower texture quality aircraft. But let's take this United 777 here, right? So let's say there's a United 777 sitting on the ramp, and he's going out to whereversville. We could actually watch in real time. I'm frozen. It froze. I'm frozen. This sucks. Why are you like this, Flight Sim? I don't understand. I think the game's crashing. I don't even know if my recording's going anymore. It's fine, you know, I didn't need to... Hey, look at that, we're moving again. So, and we're frozen again. Maybe it's because I'm straying too far from my airplane. Anyway, so this United trip would actually load and model its flight plan, and you would see, you know, if there was a real United 777 heading to whereversville, you'd be able to follow that. Now, again, there is that delay of about 10 minutes, so we actually just warped through a JetBlue A318, it looked like. Oh, yeah, it's really not happy. Now that we're back over here, we'll give it a second to load in. But like I said, that does take about 10 minutes for it to sync up and start injecting real aircraft. But coupled with enhanced live traffic is one I actually kind of gave them both away. So there's the Easy Airlines plus aircraft matching with default live traffic. And if you combine that with the enhanced live traffic, your flight sim experience with real world traffic comes significantly more alive than normal. So anyway, let's hop inside of the TBM and get her started up, and we will look at the rest of what I have planned for this video. Okay, so here we are back in the TBM. I've gone ahead and removed my pilot's body, just for ease of navigation. We'll turn them back on once we get actually, you know what? We'll leave it on for now. We'll see if my little hat interferes too much with what we're doing. So I've already closed the rear door. That is a control just right here. I've already done that. And then I close my pilot's door. Pulling the little lever there. And then startup is a normal TBM startup in Flight Sim 2020. There's nothing significant about that. One thing that is actually kind of cool, let me open my door back up here. If I turn on my battery, just hang on for just a second while my PFDs come alive. I actually get an indication for my main door being open in my crew alerting system, as well as if I open my rear door, I get an alert for the passenger door. So it's very well implemented, in my opinion. You know, it's not just the animations of the door, and, you know, again, this is a free mod. This is something Flight Sim could have done from the get-go, but we'll gloss over that for now. I'm actually curious to see what this does. What do you do? Revisionary static source? Oh, yeah, that's exactly what it is. So we've got aircraft power, nav lights on. Come over here, turn on our fuel selector to automatic. Set our boost pump to auto. And hold the starter in the up position for, I believe it's 3 seconds on the real aircraft. On Flight Sim, you can just tap it, but on the real aircraft, I believe it's 3 seconds or longer will initiate the auto start sequence. So this is part of what I was saying. You know, you get, you know, this is one of the first times I've actually had real traffic and actually had to hold short, you know, given we're at a significantly busy airport. I've told the story 8 million times before. But, you know, if you're out at O'Hare at night, or even Midway, especially if you're at O'Hare and looking to the west, you can just see a train. Looking to the southwest, you can see a train of airplanes just ready to go, ready to depart, and a train of airplanes in the air landing. So, you know, it's still not quite to the volume, especially at Newark, New Jersey. I'm not totally familiar with the volume of airplanes we see there, but once we're over to not LaGuardia, JFK, we should. I forgot already where the heck we're going. So you can. Well, you've now seen my anticipated flight plan. Whatever. JFK. We are going to JFK. So once we're at JFK, then we should get a better idea of what a busier airport looks like. But you do get some of the more unique static ground aircraft. Again, there are some generics mixed in. I think there's... Dude, can I... There we go. Thank you. Oh no, we made ice air go around.
Cleared for takeoff runway 4 left TBM 423 X-ray Tango.
So I wonder, I hear him. Right. Roll in the power.
Going to 126.15 United 665.
And a standard TBM departure. Ever so gently back, sucking the gear right away. And we'll pull up the flaps as well, because we're about to blast through our VNE. Start cranking her out to the right here.
Altimeter tree 0.21106 Cleared ILS runway for a right approach. TBM 42 X-ray Tango, contact New York departure on 119.2. Good day.
Going to 119.2. Thank you.
119.
Anyway, we're rolling up on 4,000 feet. Let's head outside and take a look at one of our next free enhancements for Flight Sim. That being the New York City Landmarks add-on. And so I know a lot of you guys do, or not a lot of you guys, but a lot of Orbix and very, very good pay-where scenery is out there, but there's also a lot of good free scenery, and this is an example of one of those. So the New York City Landmarks adds a few distinct Oh no. Adds a few distinct buildings. Obviously the One World Trade Center is the most iconic out of all of them. I don't think it does anything with the Statue of Liberty. Times Square, we'll try and see Times Square as well. That's supposed to be enhanced. I believe Central Park is slightly enhanced. And I am apologizing, I'm not terribly prepared with all of these. I more or less just wanted to do a quick and dirty showcase of some of the stuff that I use when I fly in Flight Sim to make things a little bit more true to life, a little bit more realistic. So we're flying over Long Island now. I don't know what that guy's doing down there. He's skating the ground. So that might be a bug with the real traffic. And you can very easily tell, so there's the Chrysler building down there. You can very easily tell the landmark buildings versus the normal default ones. The lighting looks better, the shading looks better, the textures look a little bit better than the Bing Maps drawn ones. We overfly Central Park. Copy 3,000. You can see on our synthetic vision there's JFK. We'll show the very last bit for the TBM and then move on to two other mods that I highly recommend you download that are completely free, just like everything else in this sim has been. And then we'll call it for this video and try to keep this one a little bit short. I know I say that every other video, and that doesn't happen, but... Oh, I'm below 3,000. We are stupid high. 13 right. I will... Oh, the game crashed. Imagine that. Imagine that. Be right back. Alright, we are back from our first crash of Flight Sim. I don't think I've ever actually had the game crash before. So that's unfortunate. We're in a beautiful All Nippon Airways, or ANA, A320neo. This is the fly-by-wire Airbus A320neo. And it is leaps and bounds. I'm not going to be able to cover everything in this video. That's just not going to happen. But it's a game changer as far as this airplane goes. I mean, everything about this airplane has been significantly overhauled, done up better. It's just an amazing, amazing airplane. So we're going to try to get it into Nagasaki Airport here. Maybe. Started us pretty close to the airport, so we're going to have to circle around for a little bit while we descend. But that'll let us take in some views. We're actually, I realize now there's a, I think it's a tropical storm still, or a hurricane. There's a significant piece of weather over this area, so we're also dealing with that. We're going to go ahead and get set up as much as we can for landing. So I'm going to set our auto brake to medium, which actually does function. And there's a brake fan as well, which right now isn't going to do anything because my gear are up. But there's a brake fan. The brake fan actually at least illuminates. It doesn't necessarily do anything as far as performance or anything, but you get a hot indication. There's just so much. Every single one of these screens functions. Unlike, so in the fly-by-wire, you get this screen and this screen for your lower ICAS. You get everything here. Quite literally everything. So I've got spoilers max dumped. Turn on just a little bit of floodlighting here, so you can see what we're doing as we descend through the clouds. All of your screens are fully dimmable as we go overhead Nagasaki. Dim those down a little bit as we come through the clouds. The backup HSI is dimmable. Oh, going a little fast. Pull the nose up. Obviously, this is not how you would want to fly this approach, actually, but just trying to get the airplane down. You can see on our co-officers or first officers MFD, it's pretty weathery out there, so if I scroll out, it's just death. It's just death. In fact, let's go ahead and turn on. Oh, that's gonna be annoying. But the wipers are a much better model. They obviously have the sound that you heard, and you have the speeds are more accurate. So you have your slow and then your fast, which on the default A320, your slow speed is about as fast as your fast. Okay, so we're below 18,000. Let's get the APU going. Keep turning and losing altitude here. We're gonna try to avoid all this weather over here. 8,500. I would assume we'll see the sea before we hit the ground, but you never know. How about that lighting though? Look at that. As we come through the clouds. Look at that. That looks so good. Picking up some rain now. You can see the rain running. That's the default light some rain effect, but you don't get to see it too often, so that's pretty cool. Great looking airplane. One of the other things they did on the ANA, or not the ANA, on the fly-by-wire Airbuses, they redid all of the lighting. So the lighting's more intense. You can actually see on the wingtip, you can see the beacon reflecting. When you're on the ground at night, you can see the navigation lights bleeding into the ground a lot better. Go first notch of flaps. So you can actually see on our terrain radar runway, so we lucked out. There's another airplane. Let's drop gear. You can just make out the sea down there now. Better approach, not nearly stable enough to make a difference. Let's turn on the wipers for some immersion, huh? Oh, yeah. That's not annoying at all.
1,000.
So a few things are going to happen on touchdown. Our spoilers are going to auto-deploy, auto-brake. You'll get an indication that auto brake is enabled, and that'll stay on until we hit the ground. I'm sorry, until we hit the ground, until we actually apply the brakes. Still fighting that crosswind.
100.
Pretty steep rate of descent. Let's retard
40,
that.
30, 20, 10, 5.
That's more like it. A little bit beyond the touchdown zone, but we'll take it. Oh, we're floating. Brake reversers. Auto brake is enabled. Disable the auto brake. Didn't get a hot brake indication, but normally you would have a amber light here that would turn on. It would say hot just above where the on key is, but we'll run the brake fan for now. So that is the... Oh, my buckets are still open. So that is the A320 Neo, the gorgeous, gorgeous free mod by Fly-by-Wire Simulations. Actually, going to turn right here. A little bit of aggressive of a turn. And that's going to let me show you guys the very last thing that I have planned for this video. And it's one of the... Okay, we're just going to... Yeah, we're okay. There's some rain on the window. We'll get over it. And you've seen it in other videos before. It's actually my toolbar here. It is the pushback toolbar. Made by 68 Whiskey and others, I believe. And there's several different options. We'll get those options up once we actually park. One thing I do recommend you toggle off, though, is to simulate the nose wheel lift. I've had issues with the fly-by-wire where simulate nose wheel lifts will initially work, but then after a short while it actually stands your airplane on its butt. And you're kind of stuck like that. I'm trying to find somewhere with a jetway. Let me just casually cruise around the ramp here. Oh, the van's following us. How nice of him. Okay, so we are, in fact, let's fully deconfigure here. Where's my park brake? There it is. We go to off. We'll shut down our engines. So, and like I said, this is not a fully in-depth video on this airplane at all. There's so much. There's a door lock, and you can do a video feed of what's outside of the door. There's so much to this airplane. So we're not gonna get to everything today, unfortunately. That's just how it is. If you do want to see a more in-depth video on the fly-by-wire A320, let me know. I'll work something out. One of the big things for me, and I don't know if we're going to see it, well, you can see it with the rain, is the APU sound has been overhauled, as well as you now have heat blur coming off of the APU area, which you would have on a A320, any A-series aircraft, any aircraft with an APU, really. Wherever that hot exhaust from that tiny jet engine is, you're going to get some heat blur. I think they kind of went a little bit big with the heat blur. It would normally be a pretty small cone, and it would, you know, reach maybe to here-ish before it dissipated. But you know what? It's better than what Asobo did, which was nothing. You can see a little bit of the ground effects of that lighting I was talking about with the nav lights. You can really see it at night, like I have right now. Again, the logo lights are completely overhauled, lit up. In fact, let's just light up the whole airplane really quick, just so you can see what that all looks like. So just a complete overhaul of everything. Again, my big thing is the intensity of the beacon, especially with it being an LED on the Neo. You would get that sort of reflection, even on, you know, the normal flashbulb type aircraft. You get really big reflections. So anyway, so we're obviously pulled up to a gate. I don't know if this is going to work just because of how I brought it in, but on the aircraft tab you can manually select stuff. So I just hit jetway. You can see the jetway is now moving in. This eliminates the need to call up ground services on the radio, which I think is just the stupidest thing in the world. you would never, ever, 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 under any circumstances, do that. So let's call up baggage and catering, see if I can get a baggage truck, and I did, and a catering truck. And those guys will pull up. And unlikes, and in fact, you might have seen it in the other options, so prevent stairs, prevent truck, prevent baggage loader, manually dismiss the fuel truck. So these guys will move into position and stay there. Oh, guys, wake it up, please. Can we get moving? Okay, well, take my word for it. They would stay there in their loading animations until you dismiss them. I don't know why I can't get catering break. Okay, there goes catering. So there goes my... Okay, so there they go. Must have just had to tap it again. So you get the idea. It's the same animation. They just stay put for the... however long you want them there. You can pull the jetway away. While we're looking at stuff, let's go to our doors page, because that now works. And you can actually see, so we just pulled the jetway away, so our main entry door is open, but you can see we have an alert for the cargo door and the cabin door, rear cabin door, which obviously are open for our baggage and catering trucks. So you get that. I'm going to tell them to go away. Baggage might take a second, and that's fine. Toggle my park brake. Start pushback.
Cockpit to ground.
There we go.
This is ground. Stand by.
So it does work better when you're, set up at a gate initially. Obviously, we pulled into a gate. But you can see the aircraft tug moving into position. Like I said before, I recommend you have simulate nose wheel lift toggled off. I do like the interactive pushback audio. So in a second here, they'll hook up and they'll tell us to release the parking brake, that sort of thing. So as you...
Okay, sir. The bypass pin is installed. All doors and hatches closed and all ground equipment is removed.
Good.
Standing by for pushback.
So now he's waiting for us to give the command. So the interactive pushback audio would just kind of run through the motions, and you would just get the option to control the tug. I like the interactive because, there's extra steps for you to do. So let's go reverse.
Go ahead.
We are cleared for start and push. Parking brake set.
Okay, cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
Okay, park brake off, and he's going to sit here until we release the park brake.
Parking brakes are released.
Commencing pushback.
And
You
this
can start
is...
the engines in sequence.
And again, this is
It will
normally
start
when
in
you
the
would
sequence.
do your engine start if you wanted to. So, as you can probably tell by the obvious labels here, you can control the speed at which your tug pushes you back. So if you want a really slow pushback, you want a really aggressive fast one, you can crank her all the way up to 11. I usually think right around here is a good speed, and then obviously you can also turn the tug. So if you've got a really long pushback, we'll speed it up a little bit, and then you can actually turn the tug, which turns your aircraft. It's not perfectly model the articulation between the tug and your airplane, but, again, it's a free mod. Why are you complaining? So, you get it. Works a little bit better with straight line stuff. So going in a straight line. And in fact, when I did that speed up, you can actually already see the issue I was talking about with the tail squat and the nose wheel lift there. That's because we did the rapid speed up and it pushed the butt of the airplane down. So just kind of be mindful of that as you're doing it, what you need to do. But anyway, that is going to do it for this video. Actually, we'll finish the pushback here. Stop pushback.
Okay, pushback completed. Please set your parking brake.
And he's going to sit there and wait until we set the park brake.
Parking brake set. Ground. Startup is complete.
He's setting
You may
us down.
disconnect.
Roger. Good engine start. Cleared to disconnect.
I mean,
See
not
you at
really.
the side.
Oh,
Have
my.
a good flight.
Holding position waiting for the visual. Thank you and goodbye.
Which is what you would do on a real aircraft. You would wait for the tug to pull away, him to give you a thumbs up, and you'd give him an acknowledgement signal back. And then continue on with your flight, which we've already done. So that's this video done. Just a few little things. I know I didn't do a great job of showcasing them. If they look remotely interesting to you, go check them out. They're free. Download them, check them out. If you don't like them, take them out of your community folder. It's that simple. So anyway, you guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I will catch you in the next one, and as always, take it easy.